If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
We're welcomed by Dr. John Segars, the Superintendent of Sylacauga City Board of Education, and you talk about a busy week. You got one, don't you, sir?
We sure do. And it's always busy at the end of school, but especially this year.
You know, it was always something special about the last day of school. And this is a different last year of school, but it's still the last day of school, for sure.
It is, and we tried to make it special for all the kids and the families with some drive-through graduation events, some award ceremonies, both done online and drive-through style. So good to see the kids. And
yeah. Fifth grade, what, yesterday?
Fifth grade graduation yesterday. It was a big deal. Saw lots of folks, and it continued for about 5 hours yesterday. So
okay, so what's the schedule today?
Today is, of course, last day of school. You'll see the Nichols Lawson Middle School awards videos come out today about 1 o'clock. Mm-hmm. We've separated those by grade level, so you can dive right into the grade level you want to watch, or you can watch all three of them today. So that'll be great. And then tomorrow you will see the high school senior awards ceremony, where we start to award things like scholarships and those type of recognitions. So that's another big day for us.
Sylacauga High School graduation a week from Saturday.
Yes, sir, it is. We're going to do Saturday morning in the stadium. We loved it outside last year, and we decided to go morning to get away from the heat, maybe prevent some interaction with thunderstorms, and but you know, we've got the Memorial Day weekend on us this week, so we didn't want to touch that. People want to go places, and but next week I think it'll give us enough time to get it exactly right. We will have to abide by the social distancing rules, and of course the governor is going to speak here probably in the next 24 hours and tell us something different than what we knew under Safer at Home, or she may extend it, but we've got to be prepared for that too.
Talk about, Dr. Segars, the last couple of months. It's almost been a blur to a number of people, with the kids being educated at home with their classes, parents, and a lot of them just now going back to work outside the home. How have we adjusted with the Sylacauga City School System? And kind of give us a little report card on where we are now.
Well, of course, there was no script for this. Nobody anticipated this, and what most people don't know is a school year is really scripted. Teachers know where they have to be at certain points. Principals know what objectives need to be met and when they need to be met. And of course, in early March, our world got turned upside down, and we had to adjust quickly. And I'm just impressed that our teachers and our staff were able to not only get the buildings sanitized and get things in order logistically, but we were also able to take the curriculum that we had and turn it into a curriculum that students and parents could do at home. We had a lot of learning to do, and we adjusted, but the big thing was communication. We touched base with every family, every student, every parent, and we maintained contact with them, and we adjusted together. So we learned, and we'll be much better.
Talking about the students and different grade levels, different directions as far as what we were able to accomplish with our kids in school. This last couple of months has been a tremendous adjustment for everybody, but our kids and parents have done pretty well, haven't they?
They're resilient. They got after it. We've just got a strong community of folks that understand that there's a problem, but we're not gonna, we're not gonna harp on that problem. We're gonna figure out what the solution is, and we did. And I just thank the parents. I mean, I went through it at my house. You saw it in your home, where now I'm doing 6th grade science on Saturday mornings, and it was tough for me. And I went back, matter of fact, yesterday and talked to 2 science teachers, and I'm like, God bless y'all for what you do, because it took me a while to get through the lesson. And of course, my daughter and I learned together, and it was a good time for us.
Well, as a grandparent, I learned a lot. Dr. John Segars, our guest this morning, Superintendent of Sylacauga City Board of Education. Big meeting tonight for the Board of Education as well.
Yes, sir. This is our annual meeting tonight. Of course, a lot of personnel decisions are made. We do have some retirements this year, more than last year, but I think that people went home and they got a little taste of retirement. people that have been around for a while, and they came to me and said, I think it's time, with the uncertainty going on, and of course those folks have all been with us for more than 25 years. And in fact, one lady yesterday has been doing this for 41 years.
Oh my goodness.
And she told me, she says, it's time. And I said, I believe you. And she says, you'll know when it's time one day too. So we wish them the best. I mean, what great people to have on your staff, and what a great community around them. So we want to honor them, and we will talk about them a little bit tonight. And hopefully at the end of June, we can bring them all back together and celebrate with them their retirement.
Next school year is upon us, even as we're ending with the last day of school today. But August will be here before you know it, but planning starts way before that.
We've been working on it for a few weeks now. Waited on some guidance at the state level, but our governor and our state superintendent have asked us to take a look at delaying the start of school, which we are. We're working with the county system right now to make sure that we can get those dates lined up and that we're not off. And I think that Dr. Lacey and I have come to a model where we can start on the same day, and that helps a lot of families. And then you have to adjust the school year, so you make sure that you get in those 1,080 hours of instruction that by law we're required to do, and you get as close as you can to 180 days, or you have to ask for a waiver. We've had school years where we have not had 180 days, but our target is to get as close to that as we can, and certainly those number of instructional hours. So we'll make it work, and there'll be some adjustments next year, and starting a little bit late, but we'll be okay.
Have we targeted a particular date that we want to start?
We've looked at some dates. The state superintendent, many of you saw this. Some people that read the reports in the paper. Dr. Mackey talked about somewhere around the 20th of August. So we started with the 20th of August as our planning date. That may shift a couple of days either way. It may shift with the county a couple of days either way. So we don't want to get ahead of it yet. And of course, that's going to take his approval when we do come up with a plan. So, if I was sticking a pin on a calendar somewhere, I'd find that week that says 20 August, and we'll go from there.
So many changes taking place, and we appreciate all of our staff, school staff, our teachers, and everybody, including our parents, grandparents, and students, and our superintendent's office, and all those people who make a difference. One thing that is concluding today is the curbside breakfast and lunch, and what a great success story this has been.
Can't say enough about it. 25,000 plus meals served. And we've done that for 47 days now continuously. So we never took a break. I told our staff it's important that children eat, that families feel safe, and that they see those teachers every day handing out meals, and that it was a way to maintain contact with folks. But there are children in our community that are hungry, and we felt that was important. We knew it cost some money, it cost us a lot of time, it cost a whole lot of effort, but we had over 80 volunteers throughout that 47-day period step up and serve those meals, and I can't be prouder of that.
I mean, we're talking 5 days a week, all kinds of weather, everything else.
We saw some weather. We saw some days where we were drenched. We saw some days where we were very hot, but the kids kept coming, and you cannot replace that. Anybody that saw those pictures or were part of those teams, you will never be able to replace that feeling.
Who was it that maybe began to push the envelope a little bit to getting a program like this instituted, and has been forerunners in it ever since for 47 or so days?
Well, you've got to hand it to our leader, Kelly Wasserman. But she has built a strong team. We have got some great managers in our schools. We've got some great employees, and everybody just kind of stepped up at once. And it was, the decision was not easy for me, but I said, we are going to do this, and we're going to figure it out. I didn't know how. I didn't know how to pay for it. I didn't know exactly how to do it. And Kelly looked at me and said, let me have it. She goes, if you want those children fed every day, and we all do, let me have it. I said, you got 47 days. Can you sustain it? She goes, I can sustain it. And of course, what she's doing now is planning for summer feeding. And we're going to try to run a small summer school in July if we're allowed to. And she you know, she's already planned for that. And she says, how many kids and where are they going to be? So you hats off to her and that child nutrition team. You can't say enough for them.
What about kids that maybe need a little extra work, a little bit more attention as we draw to the final day of school here in Sylacauga?
Right. We have identified at our elementary level about 85 students who need some work. We are running our first ever summer literacy camp, and that's a result of the Literacy Act. So it's a law that we have to work under and a mandate. We also have 30 to 35 students at our middle school that we know need a little extra work, and we will phase those students in a few numbers at a time, staggered throughout the day. But we'll do all that in July. We're waiting to see if the governor will release or, you know, kind of loosen some restrictions that we can bring people together and make sure those children are ready for that date in mid to late August where we start again and they're not behind. So we're talking, you know, 120 or so children across our district that we know need extra help, and we want to give it to them and give them that fresh start in August.
Dr. John Segars, our guest this morning, Superintendent of Sylacauga City Board of Education. Sylacauga High School graduation coming up a week from Saturday at the stadium, and that starts about 9 o'clock. And, you know, social distancing means everything, and we don't need to get lax in this either.
We don't. And, you know, our stadium, fortunately, is set up for large numbers. We can spread folks out. We're going to bring folks in from multiple entrances. I think we have 5 entrances now. There'll be guides at each set of bleachers to show you where to sit. We'll sit on both the visitor and the home side. The stadium will be on the north end, or the stage will be on the north end of the football field, facing south, so from the scoreboard back towards town. So wherever you sit, whether it be the home seats or the visitor seats, you'll be able to see graduation. Everybody will have a good seat there, and we will be spread out. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be very interesting. There'll be a lot of tears. There'll be a lot of smiles, and you know, we're just happy that we could do that for our families and for these graduates.
Alabama is, you know, we're a sports-driven group of people in our state. A lot of conversation about, well, will there be fall sports? When will fall sports start? When will the volunteer camps and stuff begin like that? Can you touch a little bit on this morning about what direction, as leadership, we're wanting to go with this in Sylacauga for the next few months?
Well, what we do know is that on June the 8th, we're allowed to bring students back with coaches in groups of 10. So that's 1 coach and 9 students. They can come back and start workouts. Now, there are a lot of restrictions. You cannot share equipment. You have to clean equipment between students using it. We have a lot of students that want to participate, but you can't have them sitting around on the bleachers or in the stands at the gym waiting on their turn. It's
some things, Dr. Segars, just Joe Blow here sitting here, we don't even recognize. We don't even think about stuff like that.
I know, and it's tough to think about. Our coaches are doing a great job building a plan, anticipating a start to the season, hopefully around, you know, mid to late August. Hopefully, I don't know yet, and our state hasn't said, but we're going to start back practicing the best we can. But that includes cheerleading, band, volleyball, football, basketball. It's not just the football players that play outdoors, and before you know it, we'll start training for spring sports again. So 9 different sports that we have, plus our band, and they all need space to do things. So we're working on that hard, and it will begin on June 8th. So I look forward to that day.
You have a gut feeling about, you know, a lot of guys, Saban and Malzahn, some of these other guys are talking about, well, it's going to be a different college football season. Well, what about different fall season for Sylacauga sports?
I don't know that I have a gut feeling. What I do think is that in some fashion we will play sports again, and our band will play. it may not look exactly like it's looked in the past. But like I've told everybody in our district and everybody in the community that I've talked to, is we have a new normal now, and we have to accept it, play within the rules, but provide our children every opportunity we possibly can to learn and grow on the ball field, in the band room, wherever it is. So I think our coaches and our sponsors of these teams will be creative. They'll get it done. They'll figure out how to get it done. And you know, and our kids, they don't care. They just want to get out there and play. So we're ready to do that, and ready to get that season started whenever it starts.
Yeah. COVID-19 certainly is still with us. Some of the hot spots in the state now, Montgomery County and Mobile County and areas like that. As far as our Sylacauga City School System, the COVID-19 crisis has been one that just jumped on us, and we really didn't have a handle on it, and you kind of learn as you go on this thing. As far as school is concerned, do you see COVID-19, do you see it getting better? Do you see that, hey, are we going to be able to walk through this thing? Is there another crisis coming up in the fall of this year?
I think certainly there's a possibility for another crisis, and you know, I'm not in the healthcare field. I'm
trying to put you in it this morning.
But you know, we all guess, and I think folks that are in the healthcare field guess a lot of times. But at least we're making educated guesses, and we know that we're going to have to change the way we do business. And some things that come to mind are, how many students do you put in a classroom? How do you change classes with hundreds of students in a hallway? How do you put students on buses? How do you feed them in lunchrooms? So all those things are going into our planning right now. And we have called on some real experts to give us some advice on how you might do these things. At the same time, we've learned a lot about sanitation. Now, we know how to clean school buildings, but you don't always know how to sanitize until you're put in this position.
And there's a difference.
There is a huge difference. So we're calling in some experts this summer to train our custodial staff, our maintenance staff, our principals, our teachers on how to do this right so we don't have a problem. Because as you know and everybody else knows, one problem with COVID-19 in a school will shut us down. Yep. And we may not have any control over that. So we don't want that to happen here. We don't want it to happen anywhere, but you know, we want to protect our community.
Finally, before we go this morning, graduation for Sylacauga seniors coming up a week from Saturday. How many graduating seniors? And I want you, if you would, this morning, speak about that graduating class. Never before we had a situation like this with our seniors.
Right. We have 144 seniors this year, and it is great to see them come back and pick up their caps and gowns, some of their awards last week. Nice to see them back, and we're very proud of them. We have afforded them the opportunity to graduate in the stadium with their families, and we're going to allow each student to bring 10 guests. Mm-hmm. So that is and our stadium will support that. But you know, this is that historic class, and I've told them that you have made history, and some things have been taken away from you, but you worked through it. You got the educational things accomplished. We even had students do some state level virtual competitions, and we'll release winning names on that. We had a lot of winners, so the students kept going as we knew what they would. The parents kept going, even though we're all tired. Everybody's tired of being at home and doing that kind of work. But you know, this class will go down in history as one of the best for many reasons, but certainly their ability to fight through the biggest mm-hmm. problem our nation may have ever seen.
You said early on, months ago, that you didn't know how we're going to do this, but we're going to have a graduation for our students.
Yeah, and I've received lots of advice on how to do it. But it was great. I just kept telling folks, please be patient, and let's not get ahead of the governor, and let's not get ahead of the state superintendent. And you saw school systems around the state that announced way too early mm-hmm. they were going to do something, and they've had to go back and change. I said, we don't want to be there. We want we want to make sure that we're right in line with the governor and the state superintendent, and that we have all our facts straight before we make an announcement. So I'm proud to say we waited till the right time and made the right decision. In-person graduation is the way to go.
Yeah. Dr. John Segars, Superintendent of Sylacauga City Board of Education, our guest this morning. Always a pleasure, sir, and thanks for dropping by.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
More Daybreak right after this.